Hello, everyone, and welcome to God's Forge, a Bible study done by me, Jason Perry, at Patriot Crusader Mission, a church for veterans, first responders, and patriots based in Johnson City. This Bible study is done Monday through Friday, around 10 ish, and it's where we go from the front of the Bible to the back of the Bible. And right now, we find ourselves at um, at Exodus 17. Um, it's never too late to jump in. This stuff is curated on YouTube, or this Bible study is curated on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So, by all means, if you have just started or you've just stumbled upon us, all is not lost. You can go back and watch from the beginning or at your leisure. We just want to be an asset to the Lord. So I hope you guys had a great weekend. We had a good weekend here, a good Palm Sunday. We got our potato field finally extended and, to its full length. So it's fully plowed. And now we're waiting for it to dry a little bit, and then we're going to be tilling it, and then mounding it, and then a bunch of other stuff. Good morning, my love. We also went out and purchased, 2,700 feet, linear feet of barbed wire to make fence and a bunch of posts and all this stuff because things are getting here really, really quickly. So, the cows are going to be here probably next week, maybe the week after. It all depends when that baby cow comes. And our chickens should be going out. Any morning. Good morning, Patty. And thank you for that vacuum sealer. And on Good Friday, we're supposed to be planting 200 pounds of potato seeds. That's a lot of potatoes, but we're also, there's other guys that instead of planting, want to get the cow fence up. So we're going to be doing what we can, where we can, and trying to make progress to have a pasture. Good morning, Linda. To having a pasture that, to put the cows out to. We've been spending a ton of money on getting supplies and fence supplies, and we still got to get an electric fence system to help us run a hot wire and a low wire or two hot wires on our fence. So pray for us because the money that we are spending on the cows, we are spending on getting ready for the cows. So none of it comes to Lauren and myself. Good morning. None of the finances that are donated to PCM go into Lauren and I's pocket. We don't take a salary. We don't take any money from the ministry whatsoever. Everything that we get from the ministry goes into the ministry. And right now it's preparing for the cows. And we have to get some chicken fence up as well so that the chickens don't become lunch for some predator. And then we hope to really soon be able to start providing eggs to the congregation or to others. The potatoes will yield 200 pounds of potatoes, will yield 2,000 pounds of potatoes. So we're hoping to be able to provide that. The cow aspect of this, where we're getting 3 cows, we are starting to build our herd. This is going to be a process. It's not going to be, hey, we got 3 cows, let's go, it's ready to go, they're ready to eat. We are trying to grow a beef herd responsibly on a really tight budget. So again, I know that some of you have been very generous in helping get sponsor cows and so on and so forth. Just want to let you know that we spent $500 on barbed wire and fence posts, and I don't think we have enough fence posts. We're doing the cheap T, metal posts. So God will provide, or it's not of Him. So, but that may mean it might be you guys. All right. I never talk about tithing. I never talk about any of that stuff. Um, I will do a sermon on tithing because it's biblical and all that, but I don't want people to think that I do this for money. But Lauren and I are not wealthy, and we are carrying 95% to 98% of the burden of putting this on. So we're not your typical church where there was a building there or they owned it and their operating costs are low. We've had to build everything from scratch from out of our own pocket. So that being said, I want to talk about a couple other things before we get started on news. So I finally started watching Yellowstone. All right. People have been telling me to watch Yellowstone, and I broke down last night. We had some moments to ourselves, Lauren and I, which is the first time in a while. So we banged out an episode. Lauren and I banged out an episode of it, and then I banged out two more of it because I was just so pumped to find a good show. I think there's some things to learn on why Yellowstone is so successful. From what I see, and I just wrapped up episode 3, you have one, the setting is beautiful, right? The setting is beautiful. It's Montana. The mountains are great. Um, you know, cowboy lifestyle is so foreign to city folk. You know, I was lucky. My father's side had horses, you know, like quarter horses, not like cowboy horses or whatever. And so I was exposed to horses at a young age in the Western flavor, whereas Lauren was exposed to riding in a very snooty dressage way. How could he get that here? But anyways, I think the reason why Yellowstone is successful is it's people are craving alpha personalities to come back. You know, the reason why Will Smith had so many supporters, even though that he's a complete disaster and he shouldn't have a single supporter, is people are desiring things to go back to accountability. You know, the age of internet trolls and the age of victims being a status, like victims leading has proven a catastrophe. When you're putting people at high esteem in society because they're victims, that doesn't work. So alpha personalities is what you're seeing there. So you get a bunch of strong characters who are very flawed, very sinful. God has no presence in the show from what I've seen so far. But it's basically holding people accountable, right? Bad guys kidnap a girl, they get smoked. Crystal, guys making crystal meth, guy puts them out of his misery. There's a lot of social justice in the show, but with the battle between the Indians and the ranchers. I enjoy the show because, I, like you, crave accountability. I want to be able to slap the person on the other side of the internet screen who is a troll running their mouth or, saying this, bad, inappropriate things to Lauren online when we're doing a show or anything like that. I want to be able to take these purple-haired Antifa liberal crazies and smack some sense into them. I really do. No one's ever done that to them, it appears. And what they need is some lessons on repercussions. And Yellowstone is full of that, right? It also falls guilty to terrible writing where there's never a dull moment, and the same characters keep getting like the youngest son keeps every time he gets in the truck, he comes across something. Right? It's pretty bad. Like there's enough drama in there based in the story, but they got to throw layers and layers, and Hollywood overwrites things all the time. But it is not a godly show. The language is coarse. There's a lot of nudity. I was watching it to where they blurred out stuff, which is nice. Um, you know, I heard there's a thing called Pure Flicks. I think takes movies and Christian sensitizes them, blurs out inappropriate things, maybe bleeps words out. I don't know, but I think that would be a way to take in that type of content, in a responsible manner. Um, you know, Last night Lauren and I were watching, and we're like, wow, there's there's gray spots on the screen, and we were actually thankful for it when we were reflecting on it. So, anyways, I know this is a Bible study when you're doing, but I know the Yellowstone is having an impact on our culture. Um, the other thing I want to talk about is the disgraceful state of New Jersey, wherein there's a new ordinance, rule, law, whatever you want to call it, where the policy for schools in New Jersey this year is to talk to first and second graders about gender identity and teach them how they can choose whatever identity they want, et cetera, et cetera. Further proof that that place is gone down the road of many other states, and I wouldn't raise my worst enemy's kids there. Never mind anything else. Um, you know, when you when you see how this is weaponized, and you see how Disney executives are trying to groom your kids to be LGBTQs. That's what they're trying to push for, and they're saying that this is the highest. This generation is 40 to 30% higher in LGBTQ than the other generation. Well, why is that? Because we're drifting further from God, and because we're stupid and lazy and send our kids to brainwashing centers because we don't want to inconvenience our life, or we don't want to take a cut to our salary, or we don't want to. So we lose our kid for eternity. We lose our kid for eternity instead. That paycheck's so important, we lose our kid to eternity. If you believe the Bible, you couldn't be more out of imbalance. Or let's hold on for a couple more years, or 5 more years, or 10 more years because I need a retirement. Meanwhile, we don't know if we have that long. And, getting yourself and other people around great, strong Christian community is one of the most important things you can do to keep your family insulated against the secular world and to be a beacon of light. So, anyways, that was just my thoughts. I just continue to see LGBTQ trying to push everywhere and everything. It's what BLM was always about. BLM was never about Black lives or anybody with darker pigment in their skin. It was always about deconstructing the nuclear family, the traditional family. So, and they just used Black Americans as a club to beat everybody with, and left them high and dry. So, it's really a tragedy. But we see people waking up. I don't have my glasses this morning. I think they're in my truck. So I am going to have to wing this without my glasses. So God forgive me if I say anything incorrect. Luckily, this is one of the shorter chapters that we've come across so far. So if you guys remember, manna just rained from heaven, right? Manna just rained from heaven. The Moses and the Israelites are wandering in the desert, and you're going to see them again complain as only the Israelites can do. I mean, they complain like, whoa, which I guess makes me a hypocrite because I'm sure we all complain just as much as they do. But um, with all the things that don't go so right with us, and they had it way rougher than we did. So, forgive me for that hypocrisy. But we're going to pick it up at chapter 17. My Bible has the title Water from the Rock above it. Verse 1. All the congregation of the people of Israel moved on from the wilderness of sin by stages, according to the commandment of the Lord, and camped at Rephidim. But there was no water for the people to drink. Therefore the people quarreled with Moses and said, "Give us water to drink." And Moses said to them, "Why do you quarrel with me? Why do you test the Lord?" But the people thirsted there for water, and the people grumbled against Moses and said, "Why do you bring us up out of Egypt to kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst?" So Moses cried to the Lord, "What shall I do with this people? They're almost ready to stone me." And the Lord said to Moses, "Pass on before the people, taking with you some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile, and go. Behold, I will stand before you there on the rock of Horeb, and you shall strike the rock, and water shall come out of it, and the people will drink." And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. And he called the name of the place Massah and Meribah, because the quarreling of this of the people of Israel, and because they tested the Lord by saying, "Is the Lord among us or not?" Israel defeats Amalek. Then Amalek came and fought with Israel at Rephidim. So Moses and Joshua chose for us men, and go out and fight with Amalek tomorrow. I will stand on top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand. So Joshua did as Moses told him, and fought with Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. Whenever Moses held up his hand, Israel prevailed. Whenever he lowered his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands grew weary, so they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it, while Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side and the other on the other side. So his hands were steady until the going down of the sun, and Joshua overwhelmed Amalek and his people with the sword. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Write this as a memorial in the book and recite it in the ears of Joshua, that I will utterly blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven." And Moses built an altar and called the name of it, "The Lord is my banner," saying, "A hand upon the throne of the Lord. The Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation." All right, so in this, it seems to me pretty clear, the Lord is teaching dependency upon him for all things, right? Dependency on which way to walk, right? So direction with the cloud of fire and the pillar of flame. Dependent on the Lord for food with manna from heaven. Dependent on the Lord for water. And now dependent on the Lord for victory in combat over rivals. So the lesson in here for us is that we should be dependent on the Lord for all things, right? But that, you got to remember, that fine balance between testing the Lord and trusting in the Lord, right? We should trust in the Lord, but we should do everything we can to facilitate it so that the Lord can meet us halfway. Do your part so the Lord can bless what you do. For example, I have 200 pounds of potato seeds that are growing in the ground. I can't just dig a hole in the ground and not put potatoes in there and expect the Lord to make potatoes grow. I have to put the potatoes in there. I have to, dig the holes with the help of others and do it and fertilize it. And then, Lord willing, he'll bless the crops and they shall grow, right? They shall grow. So, some other things. I don't know if you guys get a chance to see my sermon this weekend, but I think it might be a different Palm Sunday than what you're used to. I think it'd be worth you checking it out and seeing it, and maybe you'll learn a thing or two, particularly on the love of God. So that's all I got for you today. God bless you. I love you. I'll see you at 1 for the Hope Report. That's all I got. Out.